The best opportunity in crypto is coming soon, and it doesn't mean you should ape into altcoins. It actually means the opposite. What do we mean by that? Let me show you exactly. Like the video in the meantime, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. Welcome. Let's talk about crypto without any shilling, without any bullshit, without any Moonboy talk about how fantastic everything is going. But just to, look at the charts and see what the charts say, because charts can tell you a lot. What I see for now, for purely this week, for example, is this. Bitcoin had a little correction over here, right? It's nothing too crazy, but if we want to talk about it, then we can at least say that Bitcoin so far the week, if we take it from the full body to where we are right now, is down slightly more than 4%. Cool. Then let's go to the Bitcoin dominance. What did the Bitcoin dominance do? The Bitcoin dominance is sitting exactly at 0%. So it didn't went up, it didn't went down. What does that mean? Well, what we know lately is that as soon as Bitcoin goes up, the Bitcoin dominance follows. The Bitcoin dominance is these days, for the last year, basically very much correlated with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, the Bitcoin dominance goes up as well, aka Bitcoin is dominating the crypto space more. If Bitcoin goes down, the Bitcoin dominance goes down as well. Therefore, we said for a year, like, hey guys, buying altcoins is quite stupid right now, because let's rewind that. If Bitcoin goes up, the Bitcoin dominance goes up. So altcoins go down on their Bitcoin pair. So it doesn't make sense to buy these altcoins. Then you were better off buying Bitcoin, as that's more rewarding. And we all know it's less risk. But if Bitcoin goes down, then the Bitcoin dominance goes down. So altcoins are being worth more on their Bitcoin pair. But on the dollar pair, you know what happens? Altcoins just follow Bitcoin, but the moves are bigger, right? As there's less liquidity in the altcoin market than in Bitcoin, of course. So that was that is like the main reason to say, like, hey, investing in altcoins right now makes 0 sense at all. Again, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, if you want to buy altcoins, then this is one of the charts you should take the most looks at, right? Because if the Bitcoin dominance is sitting very high, it means Bitcoin is really ruling, and the altcoin market is not that relevant. Whenever the Bitcoin dominance goes down, that's what we call an altcoin season, right? That's why altcoins are becoming worth way more against Bitcoin. Now, I said it before, like, people throw the term altcoin season, in my opinion, way too much. Like we had last year in May, June, for example, the Bitcoin dominance went from 48% all the way down to 39%. And people call that an altcoin season. Technically it is. But then there are a lot of altcoin seasons. We have one here. I can go on, right? If we really want to be a little mature about this, we can say, of course, that a real alt season, based on this dominance chart, has only occurred 3 times. We had one here in 2017 where the Bitcoin dominance tanked like crazy. And you can say, like, hey, there were 2. We first had our really big alt season here. Then it consolidated for a couple of months. And then we had another one. I can rather see this as 1. Then we had the second one here in 2017-18. And then our last one we had at the beginning of 2021 till May, June 2021. Now, if we want to see an alt season, then we, of course, first need to see the dominance go up, right? We can, of course, go down from here. And that's already a bigger alt season than what we have seen in the last 2 years. But still, it's nothing compared to what we really have seen before. And it's not that this is the floor right here, right? But if you, it doesn't make sense now, especially for the dominance to go lower than this. Why? There was such a big NFT hype. There was such VC money in altcoins in this stage of the market in 2021. That bull run was absolutely crazy for altcoins, right? We had so many pre-sales, so much hype, all these meme coins blowing up like crazy. And still the dominance didn't even went lower than what it was in 2017. So what does it take for the dominance to now go even lower? Why are altcoins all of a sudden so extremely interesting compared to Bitcoin, right? The only reason that people say that there's going to be a bull run right now is because of a Bitcoin ETF. not because of just the cycle playing out like it will, but okay, if you want to put a narrative on it, then it's the ETF. But that's a Bitcoin ETF. That's not an altcoin ETF. So if that happens, there will probably be a big reason for the Bitcoin dominance to go up very hard instead of down, right? So the dominance is very likely to go up more than this. Also, if you look at previous cycles, it's kind of where we were in 2019, right? 2019, we also were, ranging between 50 and 60%, like we were right now between 40 and 50. Then it broke out, it had a good retest, and we went up. What happens right now? We were ranging, we finally broke out, had our retest, and now we are going up. And the Bitcoin dominance, say whatever you want. If this is an altcoin, I would be like, ooh, that altcoin is going hard, right? This has been going up for a year, since Bitcoin came off of that 15.5K and shot up. The Bitcoin dominance is going up with it. You can overlay Bitcoin on this chart, put it on logarithmic for you to, give a better view on this. You can see whenever Bitcoin bottomed right here, when Bitcoin was at its lows, the dominance was as well. And ever since Bitcoin started to go up, the dominance is going up with it as well. So therefore, it seems very unlikely for me to see the dominance go down that much right now as well. And if it happens, then it's mainly because Bitcoin is also going down, which is still not good for altcoins. So not a good reason at the moment to buy altcoins. Still, I haven't changed my view on it. And there are always people saying, yeah, you're going to miss out and you should just buy, you should just DCA. I didn't for the last year, and I'm happy, right? Because I haven't lost money. The people that DCA'd into altcoins, they have, right? You can put it however you want, but it's a fact, right? Dominance is going up. I've been dollar costing into Bitcoin. I've been making money. If you look at the total 3, the altcoin market, at best, you are playing even right now. Because the altcoin market is sitting at the same level as where it was in January 2023, the exact same level. While Bitcoin, if we look at January 2023, was sitting at 20K or so, right? So Bitcoin has gone up way more and the altcoin market didn't move at all, right? And of course, that's an average. Some altcoins are up, definitely. But a lot of altcoins are down a lot as well. Well, this is the average, total 3. Now, what's interesting, what I showed you at the beginning, Bitcoin has gone down more than 4% and the Bitcoin dominance hasn't moved, right? So it's not that the Bitcoin dominance is now going down with Bitcoin at all, right? The dominance has been extremely strong, extremely strong. Was in an uptrend. Of course, we had a small correction right here, broke out right away, right? And now we are in that uptrend again. If we look at Bitcoin itself, quite different because Bitcoin was in an uptrend and it broke down from it. And now it's in this downtrend right here. So the dominance is looking bullish. Bitcoin is looking bearish. Also, if you take a look at the bull market support band, 20 and 21 week as May, you'll see that Bitcoin is now getting rejected exactly by the bull market support band, right? It's just exactly there getting rejected. And that's so fun about these charts because you could see that in the previous pre-halving year, sorry for this painting right here, but you can see as well, Bitcoin was above the bull market support band, fell below it, got rejected all the time before we really came into a bull market. If you look at this pre-halving year, we also got below, we got above it real quick, and then we got rejected and we got down very hard. Now, what is Bitcoin doing right now? We were above it, went below it, and now we are getting rejected. I am not surprised if we see Bitcoin this year tank hard, okay? Hard. Why? Because you can put any kind of news against it. At the end of the day, all the news is what you see in the charts. And charts are not for no reason, like TA is a thing, right? Therefore, you have traders and people making crazy money off of crypto and stocks and whatever, right? Crypto is very cyclical. It is so far until the day of today doing exactly what it did the last pre-halving year. So it's doing the same thing as what it did over here exactly 4 years ago, the 4-year cycle, and exactly what it did over here 4 years ago. Quite crazy. So who am I to say like, well, but from coming week it will be different because that suits me best. No, it's no, no, right? So that's quite interesting right now that the dominance is so strong and Bitcoin itself is so weak. If you look at the dominance is getting like pushed up by the bull market support band instead of getting rejected by it. Matter of fact, if you look at this year, it hasn't closed a single week below it even, right? Cannot really say the same for Bitcoin, right? especially the altcoin market, right? The altcoin market, well, it was above it from January until April, but it was like, it wasn't really breaking out of that point, and it knocked on the door, enough times to eventually break down. And now the altcoin market is getting rejected all the time by the bull market support band. Now, what's interesting is if we look at this, you can see the forecast for the bull market support band as well. If the price stays like this, then the bull market support band in a couple of weeks will be sitting here at around 320 billion. But it's getting pretty darn close to the basically only support line that the altcoin market has, right? The only one, right? And yeah, of course, you can put some horizontals here or here, but that's not much except for these couple of wicks that we had, right? But this is the one that's keeping the altcoin market up. So eventually this will be the move, kind of, right? And yeah, then the altcoin market has to choose, okay, are we going to break to the up or the downside? Yeah, based on everything, come on, what do you think is going to happen, right? Of course it's going to break to the downside. Of course, right? Of course, I'm not 100% sure. Nobody is. So I like to cover myself when it comes to that. But if you look at the statistics, the averages, what happened before, how the market is looking right now, the potential recession coming up, all the shit in it, like no liquidity in the market. Let's use some common sense, right? It's not looking so good for altcoins. So yeah. Also, another chart, if you take the complete altcoin market, so the total 3 right here, but you divide it by the Bitcoin market cap, then you get this, right? Then you get this. Now, this is the example of cycles. Okay, and I'm not going to repeat myself too much, but for the people that feel like this is interesting, we have these market cycles of 4 years, right? And that always has 4 phases. You have an accumulation phase where it's going sideways, where you can buy. Then we have an uptrend where you make your money. Then we have a distribution phase where you load off. Then we have a downtrend where we do absolutely nothing. And that's hard because a downtrend doesn't always feel like a downtrend until it starts being a downtrend again. And then we start over with an accumulation phase, followed by a big uptrend, a huge distribution phase, followed by a downtrend. We are in the middle of the downtrend, right? So this shows how altcoins are doing on their Bitcoin pair. And they are now halfway. So if you feel like, hey, I want to buy myself into the market, then why would you not buy Bitcoin? Why not, right? Because if altcoins are going down on their Bitcoin pair, then you are better off now buying Bitcoin, no matter what the price of Bitcoin does, because if this is what the altcoin market does, then you can here buy your altcoins with that Bitcoin still twice as cheap, apart from what did Bitcoin or altcoins doing against the dollar, right? But in the meantime, you position yourself in Bitcoin and not in altcoins, which is 1, at this stage of the market, more rewarding, and 2, more safe, as you do not know if the altcoin that you are going to buy is going to survive in the first place. And if it does, you do not know how low it gets, right? Another great example that I gave a lot more on this channel, but that's Cardano, for example. Cardano went down, let me put up the right chart, yeah, here. Cardano last cycle went down, like, what was it? 92% or so. Yeah, people were screaming, it's down 92%, you should buy it right now. Well, you would have bought Cardano at 22 cents, like kind of where we are right now, basically. And then from that point, it went down another 92%, all the way to 1.5 cents, right? And in hindsight, you would have made money, right, if you bought here and held it all the way up to here. Although you probably panic sold the shit out of it right here and bought back here. In reality, you probably lose money. But if you just hold, you could have made a 10x out of it. Great. But if you bought the bottom range, you could have made more than 100x out of it. Way more. I think it was like, take it from bottom to top, 180x or so. Right? So, you don't buy the exact bottom and sell the exact top. So let's say 100x. That's a huge difference compared to the 10x that you could have got just because you FOMO'd into a altcoin that was in a downtrend. And that's exactly what people are doing right now. People say, just buy. People are afraid to buy right now. Like, afraid to buy. Like, I don't see a lot of fear in the market. I see people either not giving a fuck, right? They gone. Or the people that don't buy is not because they fear they see low prices, they want to ape in. These people quite smart. They know about these cycles, right? They know how they can play out. They know how brutal the altcoin market could be, right? And if this is your first cycle, then you feel like, oh man, it's already down that much. I've been wrecked. Well, I have a little money left. If I buy now, then and then the next leg down comes. Congratulations, you got yourself wrecked anyway. So that's not really like the altcoin market can be really brutal, like more than what I think we are halfway there, kind of, right? Like price wise, time wise, I think we are closer to the end than the beginning. But price wise, it could go down very, very, very fast. It's like the total three. If you, for example, take a look at the last cycle right here, the total three went down 92%, right? How far did we came down this time? 74. And it doesn't sound like a big difference, but from the top it is. Because if we would have came down 92%, it would have brought us here, this line that was drawn, right? That's more than 3 times as low on average, right? And this includes stables. Well, if everything is correct, say I'm bankman free, then or why am I blaming him? Do Kwon, what the fuck? I need some coffee, I guess. But if everything is correct, then stables don't go down. So altcoins going down way more than that. So let's say 4 times as low, right? So people might be like, yeah, buy now, this and that. What if, I don't know, Chainlink goes down 4 times as much? That would put Chainlink under $2, so 170 or something like that. I don't know, right? And again, you cannot time the bottom. You don't know where the bottom is. And I will never tell you to try to time that, right? You won't catch it anyway. And that's not what I'm trying to do. But there is a bottom range. Therefore, we say an accumulation phase, right? Because that's where you accumulate, right? A downtrend is not where you accumulate. And that's the number one mistake that people in crypto make. They accumulate in a downtrend, because they cannot read charts. Again, I'm gonna show you something interesting when it comes to Chainlink, because if you look at this chart, people would say like, this is an accumulation phase. No, it's not. I will show you. But again, like you cannot pick that bottom. So why not already dollar cost here? Because every single chart is kind of showing like, hey, this is very likely to go down way harder, right? Also, it's a huge difference. Let's say, right? I don't know, but let's say that Chainlink goes back to its all-time high and your average is this, $7, because you feel like I'm starting to DCA here. You will make a 7x. Is that what you're doing it for? Because the people that will start to dollar cost over here, for example, at that $1 level, $2, give or take, right? And it goes back to all-time high. It's not a 7x, it's a 27x. That's a huge difference. That can change everything, right? That can change everything. Now, also, again, people look at charts like this, like, for example, this one, right? It's been going sideways for so long, just accumulate. No, it's not. It's not. It's stupid. Because, again, if you overlay Bitcoin, what do you notice? Here we go. Chainlink is now sitting at the exact same level as in November. So that hasn't moved. Bitcoin 2x'd. So you could have bought a safer asset and you would have made it 2x compared to a risky asset that in this best case scenario did not do anything. Didn't go down, but it didn't do anything. So why should we buy this right now? And that's what you can see on the, for example, on that specific altcoin, in this case Chainlink, Bitcoin chart, right? It hasn't been in an accumulation phase. It hasn't, right? It's been in a downtrend. Well, this one for like 3 years already, right? Low lows, low highs. Low lows, low highs. So basically, since August 2022, there wasn't a good moment to buy Chainlink, right? And then you want to look at such a chart like, okay, where could it potentially go? Well, these really big support levels are sitting quite lower than where it is right now. Right? And I mean, yeah, it broke out. Congratulations. Could still do this. I don't know. Could still do that. Right? Yes, resistance is now support. Well, okay. Then let's write the support down. The line is going down. So, I don't know. And a lot of these altcoins look like this. Frasty is one that's holding up a little bit better. But the fucking thing about crypto right now is every time we get some good news, it doesn't matter. We maybe have a pump, but it gets sold off right away. We saw it with Volker Fort, for example. We saw it with Moonbeam. All these dying coins like... Well, Volker Fort is not a dying coin, by the way. But all these coins that just have no strength in this stage of the market. Therefore, that's also discouraging. I'm not English, but you know what I mean. For the project owners. Right? Because they want to, of course, also see their hard work being paid off when it comes to price. But it doesn't. Therefore, so many projects die in this stage of the market. Right? Because these projects at a certain point feel like, fuck it, no matter what we do, it's not going on. Let me just take what's left and get the fuck out of here. That's what a lot of projects do. Right? Or they really run out of funds. They don't make any fees. They can pay their staff, nothing. Right? Therefore, you also want to be a little careful with dollar costing in altcoins because you're playing roulette. For fuck's sake. Like, why would you? Why would you right now? But Frasty as well, on its Bitcoin pair. Great. It had a pump of 77% and it sounds like a lot. But of course, it was off of the lows, man. Look how low it was. It was sitting at 1,200 sats. You know, it came from 15,000. So yeah, of course, if all the liquidity is being taken away, such pumps happen. But the funny thing is that not even a week has passed and it's already down 33% from there. Right? And all it managed to do was make a very smear wick-based lower high for a couple of days. That's all it did. Right? So if you're trading this, then fine. But if you're investing, I don't see a good reason to invest in altcoins right now. But again, that's the number one mistake that people make. Buy, like I saw so many people were talking about, oh, buy VRA. Why? You're now in a loss, so why? Right? Doesn't make sense. And it doesn't matter that the project is super good. Like if the project is really that good and you love it, that should be the number one reason for people not to buy it, because you want to have as much of these coins as possible. So how do you do that? By getting a cheaper price, right? And not by YOLOing into every altcoin because you just have FOMO. That's your emotion. And I see so many, like as well as crypto influencers and everybody still having way too much emotions over this. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Like, for example, people talking a lot about Illuvium, right? But DOT, for example, as well, like DOT Bitcoin. Like, come on. You don't need to be a genius to look at this chart and to come to the conclusion that buying this right now is just a stupid fucking move. You're gambling. Like, you're gambling. Oh, this is the bottom. Oh, this is the bottom. Oh, this is the bottom. Like, come on, man. It's not working, right? Same as what I wanted to show you. Yeah, Illuvium, for example. I love the project. I love how it looks, right? And again, if you look at its dollar pair, you could say like, hey, finally it's making a bottom. I don't know, man. A bottom range can look like this for very long and still break down. So therefore, you always want to confirm like, well, is it worth the risk? And then you look at its Bitcoin pair and you'd be like, I don't know, man. A couple of months ago, it made a lower low and now it just made a lower high. So, you know, what happened so far ever since it existed after making lower lows and lower highs? A new lower low and lower high. Like, that's what it does. Therefore, what you best can do, well, I'm not saying what you should do. You do whatever you want. What I do, right? What I do. And I said this before, but I hope a lot of new people are watching this channel as well, as far there are new people in crypto right now. But if you are, congratulations, because most people gave up. Like, what I show you is not bearish, okay? What I show you is not bad news. What I show you is exactly what is going to make you rich. Like I said, if you are the one that buys this downtrends, if your altcoin survives, then yes, you can play the half a bull market, play even, and everything above there it might be a little profit for you. But if you really just have patience, right, and you wait for it, and again, you don't wait for the bottom, but you would just wait for a confirmation that the downtrend is over for a bottom range or anything like that, you can get an entry that nobody dares to buy. And then you can change your life. Then you can really change it. So what I do, again, I am buying Bitcoin right now. $1,000 every week. I'm buying Bitcoin, right? Why? Well, first, again, if you look at the altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair, it is in its process to go down, right? So altcoins are worth more against Bitcoin in a couple of months from now, probably, right? Unless this time is going to be totally different from now on. But as far as that's not showing, I'm not betting on that, right? So that's one. So why do I not just keep it in USDT? Well, very simple. Because what if Bitcoin runs, right? You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. It will never be smart to be completely into the market, and it's never smart to be completely out of the market, right? Bitcoin is, if it's following what it did before, then it's probably this year going down and like going down, up, sideways, but it could go to 18K, for example. Could even go to 15 again, right? But overall, that's sideways. If if it's in hindsight, like if it's sitting above 100K or something like that, then this is considered sideways, right? Just like 2015, for example, right? This pretty much sideways, although it went from 160 all the way to 320, right? It doesn't really matter. So Bitcoin could do something like that. I'm a DCA Bitcoin there because I think that would be the last chance to buy Bitcoin relative cheap. Then we have the halving, 2 months of nothing, 3, 4 maybe, a little down, something like that. And then usually it runs. That's what happens every time so far, right? So I'm betting a big part of my money on the fact that, it's still going to play out like that. And I hear so many people say, well, if it's so predictable, then everybody would be rich. No, because people think it's too predictable and therefore don't go with that thesis. But so far, if you did, then yeah, it would have worked out. So I'm buying Bitcoin, right? In the meantime, whether Bitcoin goes up, down, I don't care. In the meantime, altcoins can just really go down against their Bitcoin pair. And once that happens, then I buy altcoins with that Bitcoin. Why? We are further to the bull market, so the chance that these altcoins survive is way bigger. And in the meantime, if Bitcoin does run, I always have exposure to the market. Plus, it's my dry powder, right? Because all these altcoins are listed on their Bitcoin pair. So it doesn't matter. Like, you do not miss out. If altcoins make a 3x on the dollar pair, because Bitcoin also went up, right? And you had Bitcoin, then your ratio is still fine. As long as these altcoins are down against Bitcoin, you can still buy the bottom range. You have sort of second chance, to put it like that. You really have to be a little tactic about this. Yeah, this is all straight copy paste, man. It's like if it all happened like once before and it's looking a little bit like it, yeah, then I'm not so convinced. But what happens right now is what happened every time before, and it looks exactly the same in the exact stage of the market, but then 4 years later. Yeah, so who am I now to say like, nah, I'm also on YouTube, so I want more subs. So I can better tell people to buy altcoins, because if I talk good about an altcoin, then these people gonna like me because they like that altcoin, right? Like, fuck off. Fuck that. What good is a community if they, in the next cycle, don't trust you anymore because you were talking crap, right? Or because you were talking without any experience. Man, I bought my Bitcoin, my first one, in 2013. I sold it for $800. That was fucked up. 2017, I was the one that was buying the dip all the time. Well, 2008, sorry. I was the one that bought the dip. Man, this market has wrecked me hard, right? 2021, I did pretty well, right? I didn't take my profits early enough on a lot of coins. Fuck it, also learned from that. But I now finally seen like, well, not 3 cycles, because this cycle, the first 2013, I wasn't really in the cycle. I just bought Bitcoin. For the rest, I didn't give a fuck. So I've went to at least 2 full cycles right now, right? I'm not Mr. Know-it-all, man. At 2 cycles, like, but you at least then have the experience how it feels, right? And that's the most important thing, because everybody can now get introduced to crypto, look at the chart and see what happened last cycle, right? And you can picture a little bit. But the experience of feeling how it is so you can make the best decisions right now is something that you really have to have by going through such a cycle. And therefore, I'm preaching like a retard on this channel, repeating myself so much because I want to make you feel it. Because only if you feel it, you can make the right decisions. And again, it sounds very hypocritical. Like, do not necessarily do what I do or what I tell you, but listen to what I have to say. Take it as your research. Watch some other people. Listen to what they have to say. Put it next to each other and make up your mind what makes sense for you. This makes sense for me. Okay, and I can go on for hours, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do now. I'm not gonna do that, but it's very simple. The S&P as well. The S&P, well, it's now doing okay, right? I mean, it went all the way down from 4,600 to 42, went up a little bit, but the S&P is topping the fuck out right here. If you look at the S&P on the money supply, right, that's this. And for the record, Bitcoin is following the S&P. Like since always, right? And altcoins are following Bitcoin. So if we can see what the S&P is going to do, then we probably also know how your altcoins are going. Well, in that case, if you say, hey, altcoins are going to do well, then you are basically saying, the S&P is now going to break out from a point with, just after the pandemic, with some wars going on and a recession coming up and all that shit, but somehow it's going to break out after a level where it got rejected for the last 20 fucking years. Good luck. Good luck, man. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. I think you get the point. I'm not bearish. I'm super bullish on the crypto market and on the altcoin market. It's going to do fantastic, but it doesn't mean it cannot crash completely fucking hard to shit before that happens. And I don't want to be there completely in that position when that happens. Right? That's all I'm doing. Crypto is nice. In a bull market, you can take risk, you make money. But in a bear market and in such a pre-halving year, protecting your capital is also important. I know it's the most boring content, but hey, if you don't protect your capital, then it doesn't matter that I in the next bull market tell you that we can buy that and buy that, because you won't have any money anymore. So I'm gonna leave it right here, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. There is a Patreon link down below, by the way, where you can check out exclusive videos, early access, my own portfolio, calls between you and me to look at your portfolio, podcasts, all that kind of stuff. Super interesting. So definitely check it out. Take care.